One of the first things that people try to do in their business and their life is to reduce friction. And while that can be good sometimes, I think it can also be terrible. And so today I'm going to talk about the areas that I increase friction in my life to make things better. And it has, because I've been doing them for a long time. So buckle up. Well, the first place that I increase friction in my life is this thing. It's a bullet journal. This is not an official one this year. They had these cool Bauhaus notebooks from Literature 1917. I've got a stack of them, I think, over here. Anyway, so I've been using a bullet journal for 4 years now, and this is one great thing about it, right? This is a drawing my kid did for me. I just buckled it in there. Oh, and something fell out. I'll figure that out in a minute. It just let me write a note. So if I flip underneath it, there's notes about what these drawings were for my children, or on the other side. So this is I can remember that, but even more importantly, I can do stuff like this, right? There's a weekly spread to organize my day. That's super awesome, and I can change it as I want. I can do, right, here's my video, February, March videos. You can see what I'm gonna do, and I can peel the Post-it notes out when I don't want them, or put a little smaller tab over top. It allows freeform organization, but none of that is actually the best part. The best part is that it defaults to no. It defaults to any task I put in here, I literally have to move it along if I want to keep doing it, or I have to move it to some other page. And the truth is, a lot of the times you look at the thing and you're like, ugh, it feels like a lot of work. And that means it's not worth your time. That means you're not going to do it because it's not valuable enough to you. So don't move it and just say no. And conversely, digital task managers, pick your poison. I always say OmniFocus and Things 3, but Todoist or whatever you're going to choose is a default to yes. I'm going to write something down. I'm going to put it in a project or put it in a whatever to file for later in a someday maybe list. And I'm going to have to comb through my someday maybe list and say, oh, all these cool things that I still think would be cool. Like I had thought about building a garage door opener, like a sensor to tell me, or put lasers in the garage. So they're here's where you park the car. All sounds cool. I'd still love to do it. The truth is, it's just not enough. When it comes to tomorrow on a Saturday, I'm not going to do it. So I'm just letting it go. I don't have to see this when I do my review because it's somewhere off in the back. And if I ever get to it, cool. If I don't get to it, I also don't care. I think a lot of tasks, especially when you really practice the ubiquitous capture, are things you think sound good that you're never actually going to do. And then you just guilt yourself by not doing them. And I don't want to do that. So bullet journal defaults to no. Biggest thing, it puts restrictions on what I can write down, how I can write it down, and what I can even capture sometimes. And that's great. And I just let it all go and don't worry about it. And I don't feel guilty about what I need to do because I just don't need to worry about it. I want a book to read to really go up on the bullet journal method. I just happen to have this beside me. Didn't mean to talk about it. Then you should read The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. I had already been doing bullet journal for a while when I got this book, and it was still just a good book to dig through and see how he does it, how they advise it, and not use all of it, but definitely use some of it again. And go back and I've got a bunch of folded pages over here. I go back and flip through how do they do collections? How do they do threading? How do they do all these different things in here? Just that I know. And it's a beautiful book. It's just a beautiful book as well. And I like beautiful books, so I would suggest it. It also seemed funny to do an analog system. I don't know if you can see that. But it felt funny to do an analog system and have a digital copy of the book. So I didn't. I actually maybe do, but I wanted to get the analog copy because it just seemed funny. Next up, one of the great ways that I increase friction in my life and get more done because of it is to use an iPad. I've talked about this at length before. We'll have a link up above in the show notes about why I think iPadOS is a more productive operating system. I think a lot of it comes down to synopsize myself. Is that it makes it hard to have too many things open at once. And yes, you can set it up with a million notifications, and that's stupid, so don't do it. But I think the smaller screen size on it and just the way the operating system is set up makes it harder to switch between apps and makes some tasks maybe slightly more difficult, but it also it's a much more focused, I am doing writing right now, so I can have my writing app and my research open. That's it, right? I can't really have oh, and there's something, I know Twitter's in the background. I know all these other things are technically open. Now, technically, if I've opened Twitter recently, it is in the background just as much as it is in macOS, but knowing that iPadOS just shuts it down, it's just a different mental model, at least for me. So increasing that friction has been great. It's also helped me, because I do programming, won't get too nerdy here maybe, but because of the programming, it's helped me learn my server chops a lot more because I'm working on remote servers a lot more then. It helped me, like, there's no good FTP client GUI one. I tried a bunch and they just don't work great. They all fail at some point. So the best reliable method is to use terminal tools like SCP and Zip and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so my server chops have like blossomed in the last 2 years. 2 years have been mainly iPad. And then when you come to stuff like rendering videos, you think, oh, but you gotta wait. I do have to wait, but that's not a problem. Maybe I should just kick back and like solve my Rubik's Cube or take a break or something. So that's another delightful area of friction that I love. Next up, limited call times. I have one work because I told clients I can't talk to them for 3 weeks. Literally one, 30K of work 1 year. Because I only do calls. It used to be Tuesdays. Then it was Tuesdays and I had some coaching on Fridays. And now it's only Fridays. I literally have 3 call slots, 9, 10, and 11. That's it. I don't take calls any other time. So current clients, 9, 10, or 11. That's it. New clients, 9, 10, or 11. If there's no slots, there's no slots. I don't worry about it. I tell you, you can wait when you say, hey, but I want to meet tomorrow. We don't meet on Tuesdays. Now, part of this is also helpful because I have some very truncated days. Thursdays especially, like I run in the mornings and then I get kids to school and then I basically have to be done work by about 2-ish. Although we've extended that to almost 3 now, or at least 2:30 because my oldest daughter will walk literally across the street from school and bring her sister too. No, but I've extended it a little bit now. But my days are short on Thursdays. And so if I had like a call in the morning there, but like my day is kind of shot, right? I have from 9 till 2 to work and I need to focus. So limiting my call times and then letting clients know it's not that, like when I'm working for you, I have a contract to work for you. So I will focus on work for you and not worry about everyone else. Right? I'm not taking random calls all the time. I have a very limited call slots and I'm working for you and I have lots of clients who, when they're prospects, they kind of were annoyed about it when I tell them, explain to them why when I'm on the phone. They're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I cite Deep Work and I cite Digital Minimalism and a few other books about like how it's really important, When by Daniel Pink, how it's really important to focus on the work at hand so I can do good work and have large swaths of time where I don't have to be bugged by anyone else. So that's the other restriction, limit my call time. That was like stellar boost for productivity. Now my final big one, actually, let me grab the book, hang on. Is this another Leuchtturm notebook? Increasing my friction. So I read a lot of books. I think I read 72 last year. I've read 18, maybe 19. It's February 28th. And not every book, but a lot of books I take notes on, right? Right now I'm taking notes on The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. Another book I have to process is back here. This is one of my books. I'd rather be reading. I folded down some pages in here with quotes in it that I want to copy out or ideas that I want to relook at. I may not copy all of them out, but the truth is I take 6,000, 7,000 words of notes sometimes. Did it again of notes when I was copying them, like typing them out, and I cut that down drastically to like maybe 1,000 or 1,700 words of notes. I started writing it down in a notebook, and then I actually understood the book more because I had to summarize it better. I had to think, what's the main point in this chapter? What's the main point in this, section? Does this quote really matter? Is it worth writing down by hand? Because if the answer is no, it is just not worthwhile. So I have been getting more out of books since I started this. I think 2019 is actually the first year that I fully 100% all year committed to only handwriting notes. If I look in the back here, I can tell you, 2018 I took, because I have a catalog in the back of all the books that I haven't written or read. All right, there's another one. So 2015 R1, I only have 4 books in there. It starts at page 176. I think that was kind of testing it out in 2015. No handwritten notes in 2016. 2017, I have, I will say 15, 20 books in here. I think there's a gap in the middle there where I didn't take some. 2018, again, there's probably a gap again in the middle. 2019, I committed to it. 2020, we're sticking with it. So 2019, I actually used 2 books. This is 2019 R2. And page 30, it starts to be 2020's books. 2020 R1. So having that around and list, forcing myself to limit, if you don't want to write it down, it's not a worthwhile idea. It's been excellent. I love it. For my own books, like I said, if there's really quotes I want to pull out of them, fiction, nonfiction, whatever, I stick them there and I process them so that when I'm done Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion, I'll process whatever books are in that pile. The only drawback is like a library book, which I may not finish Richard Dawkins before this has to go back. So I won't get to process this book. There's been some good ideas in it, but it's also let me know, like, do I really need to write this down? It's like, no, I don't. Last Child in the Woods, I think there's some great ideas in here. I think there's probably one or two really solid sections where this stands out above its books that I've written similar, like Free Range Kids. But I think that some of its sources and some of the things that have come after it seem to be more what I'm looking for, better in my opinion. So, and being able to make that decision has helped me refine my reading, refine how I'm looking at books, refine what I'm getting out of books, so that I can just maximize my learning, maximize my growth as a person as I read. That's it. Those are the 4 areas that I really make restrictions on my time. On what I do, on how I do it, so that I have more friction, so that I can get more done. More of the right stuff effectively done instead of just more. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, you can give me a thumbs up below. If you loved it, subscribe. Never hit the bell because you got better things to do than get a notification every time I put up a video. You should be reading, hanging out with your kids, doing some work, stuff like that. Don't get notifications. Turn them off on your stupid phone because they are the devil. That's a chapter in an upcoming book, actually.